So Season 2 of Minecraft Ultimate Hunger Games is happening this Saturday. If you somehow don't know what Minecraft Ultimate is a big Hunger Games tournament with over 250 players, all of which are streamers and YouTubers of various sizes. You got people like A60, CPK, and Fundy going against more casual YouTubers like Destiny, Optimus, and Poke. But also having some of the more PvP focused streamers as well, like Nikolai, Noah, and Oblivion TU. Today, I'll go over every team and give my thoughts on whether I think they stand a chance or not. I will do this in the form of a tier list starting at the bottom of D tier and working my way up to S tier. Before I start my rankings, I'd like to mention that I am not familiar with every single streamer in this event. I really only know the PvP YouTubers. That's around half of the players I can accurately rank. I did research on every streamer to try and figure out if they're good or not, but I'm almost certainly make a mistake. Last time, I placed Stimpy and Rizzo in B tier since I knew Stimpy was good, but Rizzo just seemed like some Rocket League pro. What I didn't know is that Rizzo was an old MC PvP sweat. If I had known that, I would have put them in at least A, maybe even S tier. So there could be some people I ranked pretty low that are much better than I thought. I would also like to mention that PikaClicks rarely try to balance the teams this time, so the majority of the teams I put in C or B. There were very few teams I actually thought were bad enough to put in D or good enough to put in A and even S. Also, the teams are still being changed as I make this video. Just today, Jarvis and Kay dropped out of the tournament, so I can't really rank Calvin and Engal's team because right now they're only a team of 2 instead of a team of 4. So to start off with the D tier. This tier is mostly made up of teams with either no good person or only a few okay people. Maybe they could end up getting a kill or two, but I think it is highly unlikely that these teams can win at all. In this tier, we have that one Tomahawk, Devin T, basically I'm B, Galaxies, Specular Burrito, Specular Potato, Creepa Creech, and underscore Jeff, Dumbs, Albino, Jameski, and the Hiamice, Beijing Canadian, Jerome, Chase Lyons, and Yizis, and Dr. Candyman, Optimus, Beast Trail, and Will Stetson. Next, we have the C tier. This tier is made up of teams with maybe 1 or 2 decent people, but will be held down by some of the more casual players on the team. While I think it is actually likely that these teams will be able to snag a few kills, they will need to get pretty lucky with who ends up in deathmatch if they want to be number 1. I also think a lot of these teams have an argument for B tier as well. In this tier, we have Fruitberries, Pokeme, Mifsin, and Your Pal Ross, Krinios, Sylvie, Poke, and Rosa James, Masayoshi, Quarter Jade, Lunboy, and Huahui, Destiny, Pichu, Squid Kid, and Krusty David, Pidgeotto, Menacing Banana, Juniper, and Zaro, Kinsoft, Present, Strawberry, and Mika, Ash, the Pink Didi, Purpled, and Brody, Gold, Toxic, Kara Corvus, and Lego Maestro, Red Vector, Ragai Rocky, Fundy, and Illumina, King Burn, Michael McChill, 30 Virus, and Sal C1, Henry, Wisp, Kiwi, and its Zeta, Ender, Samita Cross, Souls TKR, and Advi Styles, Rage Elixir, Tim Plays, Elpa, and Blushy, Captain Sparkles, Antvenom, Princessly, and Pizza Hut, The Arid, CPK, Ice Bomb, Pixel Craftian, Mikey, Curtsy, Larry Croft, and Grunk, and last we have Athena, Moose, Ahad, and Stimpy. Next we have the B tier. This tier is made up of teams that are split down the middle. Half of the team is pretty good, but the other half isn't. It could be possible for one of these teams to win, but the good players on this team will have to carry their teammates to victory. In this tier we have Aryu Zyph, Ashley Roboto, and Luxie, the Union Hub, Zalama, Speed Silver, and Haney Masu, Memzi, Love Gray Schlin, Noah, and Bitter, Oblivion TU, Charisma, Omega Pro, and Sophia Bot, Cryos, Callie Ramey, Scotty, and Big Shrimpin, Insanity, Bread Witchery, Sammy Green, and RKY, Npesta, Simple Flips, Cryptic, and Jack Bluzz, Brankio, Snood, Styles, and Loverfella, Mini Muka, SB737, Badlino, and Tubbo, Ponk, Puns, Verb, and Spifey, Mentally, Nikolai, Beef Stew, and Dinkster, Byslide, Renard, Troshers, Bryce B. Bryce, Nay, Nize, Deco, and Nanox, Mr. David, Dano, Dead, and Juan S. Guarnizio, Ollie Gamers, Cappermint, Barker Gamer, and Hasvik, Mickey, Whitecat, Phoenix, and SpaceX, Phoenix, Sophie Texas, Leftu, and Shatter, Fitba, Bushy Half, Panda Fire, and the famous films, Bitzel, ITMG, Razorworks, and the Seared, and last Brandon Crafter, Ya Boy Action, Omicron, and Xiphon. Next we have the A tier. This tier is made up of teams whose players I consider to be mostly above average. While these teams may not have the best individual players, when combined with the other above average players, I would consider their entire team better than other teams with two very good people and two kinda bad people. In this tier, we have Hannah XX Rose, Shadow Girl, Destiny, and Ashley Marie. Luke the Notable, Socks for One, Fed MC, and Beat Solos. Cricky Ricky, X Demon, Astelic, and Emmy. Restump, Nardku, Ninja XXU, and Frigil. Lennox, Boople, Bad Boy Halo, and Fire Breath Man. Mathox, I'm Fato, Bitchard, and Shadow Bass. Shadoon, Chris Green, Conterstein, and Rubik. Norman, Sasuke, Revid, and Nebelnik. Finster, Tico, Tapo, and A6D. And last, Joko, Booth Delivery, Tommy, and Connor. It is also worth noting that I think Joko's team is the best English team and Shadoon's team is the best Spanish team. Next we have the S tier. I believe that one of these teams I put here will end up winning the tournament. Now last time, I went over each team here individually. But this time I will not do that since all three teams I put in S for the same reason. The teams we have here are Papa Plata, Danny, Celtics, and the Fabo. Bicedeggy, Let's Hugo, Austrian Gaming, and Witch Tiger. And last we have Jimmy, A. Gweb, and the Ghoul. It is likely that you don't recognize anybody that I just said, and that's because all the teams I mentioned aren't English-speaking YouTubers. Gweb's team is French, and the other two are German or Austrian. Their nationality actually plays a huge role in why I put these teams above everyone else. There are only a handful of Spanish, French, and German speakers in MC Ultimate. It is very hard to balance the teams when you have so few people to work with. This is especially true since the only non-English speakers PikaClicks managed to gather up are Minecraft PvP YouTubers. All of the teams I mentioned are composed of people who have been sweating Minecraft PvP for years, except for Papa Plata and A. who are just decent players. This is the equivalent of putting Exastorio, Mentally, ZMC Nikolai, and Shadow Apples on a team, and thinking it is balanced because you have Shadow Apples there, who is worse than the other three. Just because you have one decent player doesn't mean the entire team is going to be brought down. These teams have a huge advantage over teams like Fruitberries and Wispa's teams, because all of them are great players. I think if I had to choose a team out of these three that was going to win, I would say Gweb's team is the most promising, because everyone there knows each other very well and has a history in dominating PikaClicks' events. If one of these teams don't win, then whoever kills them must be the luckiest team in the tournament. Those are my thoughts on the roster for Minecraft Ultimate Season 2. Before I end this video, I'll quickly go over my thoughts on all the changes they made from the previous season. If you want a better and more in-depth explanation for my thoughts on these changes, you can message me on Twitter at RealBruhlie. The first change they made was that they added a second chest refill at the 45-minute mark, and they buffed refills so they gave 2 items instead of 1. This is a good change, but I find it stupid that the refills are still worse than normal chests instead of them being the same. Fall damage now does 50% instead of 75% of what it normally does. This change is fine, but I don't think it was necessary. Players can now break 18 wheat and 16 mushrooms instead of 12 wheat and 12 mushrooms from farms. I guess this is a good change, but I think you should be able to take as much as you want from the farms. Respawn portals can now be used all game instead of disabled at the 2-hour mark. This is a terrible change as respawn portals were way too overpowered last game and they did not need to be buffed in the slightest. Grace period has been extended from 20 to 25 minutes. This is also a terrible change since the game is already way too long and this is just making it longer. Once all the chests are taken, there is nothing to do in grace period except to run around and waste your food. Pets have now been completely changed, and this is something I just have to wait and see for myself and how they handle it. The buff and nerf system has been removed. This is a great change as you shouldn't need to buff or nerf certain players to make a fair tournament, especially since it was pretty broken last game. However, the way they phrased it makes me worry that there is still some sort of system in place. They said effectively removed instead of removed, which implies that there is still a buff and nerf system. All players have been made invisible a minute before the grace period to prevent stalking. This change I don't care too much about because I'm pretty sure people will find ways to stalk other teams anyway. All this does is maybe delay some deaths by a minute. The map has been altered and now has noticeable gameplay differences and new lore. Like the pets, I'll just have to wait and see if this is a good change or not, although I do like that they are trying to add something new to the map each game so it doesn't become stale. Lastly, the Gulag. Once a player dies, they will be sent to the Gulag, where they will compete against another player in a little challenge course. The person who wins will be respawned. You can only go to the Gulag once per game. This is based off of the Call of Duty game mechanic, and I don't know how that works there, but I think this might be the worst change to the entire event. All this does is give half the players a bonus life, and it'll probably extend the game length another hour. There are also a lot of unanswered questions I have about this mechanic, like where do you get respawned, do you get any items when you respawn, what even is the challenge course, etc. However, I'll just have to wait and see if this edition is as bad as I think it will be, as I really have no clue on how this will work. Those are my thoughts on all the changes they made to Minecraft Ultimate Season 2. If you liked the video, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.